Market finna open up. I'm watching Google. Let's see how we gonna manage this position. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of that bit. That bit like it's trying to pull back fast too. Oh yeah, it got me out.
What you mean?
Uh, let's see where we at. That bitch is trying to pull back too. Um, I was up a couple hundred this morning on it, but all together I want to say the profit was like 1,300, I think. Waiting on it to come up. Yeah, I sold it for 1,200 a piece. I bought them at 5 something a piece, so that bitch back pushing to the upside.
Like the whole
It
market.
was outside them bands though before open. It dropped.
Yeah, you gotta start looking at that on
Yeah, it was outside the band. So anybody that just joined, I just sold my Google position at open. Um, that position was up like 95% on Friday. It opened up again, up about $200-300. So it should have been. It's definitely over 100% on that position. Still got the Apple position open. That was up a couple hundred this morning. It's down to only being up 80. Let's see. Yeah, Google is topping out of that. We might get another day or two to the upside. This depends. Um, but that was a nice rally from the bottom band to the upper band. So we'll see how this one plays out. It might come back to this 20-day MA and the 200-day MA. They both sitting right there at the same spot. Uh, and again, we might fill this gap here from open and then continue higher. Let's see. On the hourly, we way outside the bands and we way outside the RSI. So that was a good exit for a shorter term swing. I got those out till I had those out to August. So if we catch a nice dip going into July, if we catch a nice dip and this RSI cools off going into July, and then we decide we want to round up right here at the 200 MA or something like that, and find this bottom band, 20 MA and the 200 MA maybe all at the same time around here. That'll be a nice re-entry on Google. But let's see how it reacts once it gets here and closes this gap from this morning. I think that's what we're gonna end up getting. That's the way it looked like we're going. Plus the it's still sitting outside the bands on the hourly, so we definitely got to get back inside here. We could trend sideways a little bit, but we definitely got to get back inside these bands. The Apple position still ranging. It's been in this range, and this is on the hourly chart. Going back to June 23rd, about a week ago, last Monday, it's been ranging within this 199 to 202 range. We got to break out either way, break out or break down. I think we more inclined to break out. If we look at the higher time frames, like the 4 hour, we still kind of pushing to the upside. No, I don't see us rounding up and coming back down. I think we'll continue to range and then give us a catalyst somewhere down the line to break out to the upside. Google on the 4 hour, it looks like we've touched that upper band and we could cool off a little bit on that. We could ride the bands up, but I'm thinking that we're about to start seeing a little bit of resistance before we continue higher. We definitely going higher on Google. Um, I just secured the profit on that position because I only got it out of like a month and a half from now. And tech has ran a decent bit over the last week and a half, so definitely want to secure profits. I'm still in Apple though. Um, let's see. Let's check our data. Economic data for the week. We got. Let me switch these to 3 star. Actually, we're gonna go to only the U.S. All right. Anybody check the live to make sure we got good audio? Got Chicago PMI 8 minutes. That's not gonna do nothing too crazy to the market. Give us a little bit of insight, but nothing that too crazy. Tomorrow we got Jerome Powell speaking at 9:30. Seems like he talking every other day now. We got the jobs report again. Manufacturing PMI. That's gonna be some good numbers. Good data, I should say, to give us some insight on the market. But I don't think we got nothing major this week. Nah, we got regular crude oil, non-farm employment on Wednesday. Thursday we got a few things, but it's nothing too crazy. Unemployment, just regular, non-farm payrolls, and then initial jobless claims. So yeah, nothing crazy this week as far as data or any economic events. Our fair greed index, we're still in greed. We've been sitting there pretty steady, and that's why the market's steady pumping. We're in a sweet spot right now, so it's the time to be making those trades with the trend of the market. We can eat off of those right now. Goldman Sachs is gone. Yeah, since that I remember I was in them Goldman plays. They were out to September, I think, but that was a pretty expensive position. So once it gained some momentum, I had to get out of that so that I can reposition into some other trades. Let's see. We're talking about Apple now. Apple got more cash on hand than any stock or any company on the market. So them being behind in AI is not really a big problem. It's just a problem for the market. The market want to see them doing something. They want to see them playing the AI game just like everybody else, but they got the money to buy their AI needs from any company. Yeah, Apple.
I heard you say Google.
I said Google.
Yeah.
Nah, I meant Apple because Apple was on the screen. They were talking about Apple on CNBC. They should be able to hear it on the live. I'm gonna turn it down now. Um, yeah, they're going over a few things on Apple and CNBC, but I think we good on Apple. It's just chilling right now. It'll pop soon enough. Those bands getting real tight all the way up. This is the 2 hour, so we bound for a move soon. Um, let's see.
I had called puts on Tesla. Tesla down to 320. It was at 326 when I called it. It's like they want to head down. We're just gonna see what it do though. It may bounce right here.
Let's go check it out on the chart.
Yeah, she trying to bounce a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, they got I like puts on Tesla this morning. That was nice. We outside of the band on the hourly, outside of the bottom band on the hourly, so that's why I probably caught some support. Go to the smaller time frames. Still coming down. The 5 minute. 5 minute we could come back down to about 317.50. That's where a bottom band is. On the 15 minute, same thing. Still got a little bit more room to come down. You still in those? Or did you put in establish a position?
Yeah, I just grabbed one.
Okay. Let's look at the cues. Um, cues at the top of the bands. Not on this 2 hour though. The 2 hour got a little more room up there. It's been gapping up though. I don't like when they do that. Like keep gapping up because then you leave us a lot of opportunity to want to come back and refill those gaps. Um, Gotta watch that. The Q's been cooking. They at all time highs. So at any point in time, we can get a pullback in the retest of the highs. More so look at the daily chart. Yeah, this is when we'll see that more so on a daily chart. We sitting outside of the bands. We've been outside the bands the last few days. So um, we should expect things to cool off a little bit and maybe some repositioning of capital, like we were talking about last week. That money going from the Nvidias, the AMDs, the Intels, the IBMs, all these that been flying to all-time highs. We can expect them to start cooling off, and then that money to start rolling into maybe the Microsofts. Now, Microsoft are at all-time highs as well. Um, to be honest, Tesla got some room to fill its cup, man. Once it does another pullback, I think it's gonna slingshot Tesla to the other side of that 350, which is the mark that.
Exactly. Right. Let's see a major pullback and then a bounce.
Let me see. Uber. Uber is another one that I think we're gonna start seeing some bearish momentum soon. Look like it's beginning to make a head and shoulders pattern on the hourly.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Um, Let me see. This is what we would be looking at on Google. I'll just draw
See
this
it?
up, something like this here,
The TTM squeeze got it coming down hard to like 85.
and that's not the prettiest. I've had way better uh, setups than that. Some that look a little better than that, but it's not that bad. Especially if it pushes up a little bit more from here and gets a little bit higher on this RSI on the hourly. That's gonna set up even more bearish convergence. So I think we could see something like that out of Uber. I'm gonna watch that close. What's McDonald's doing? They popped. They up this morning. They at the top of that band, and that was a nice move on double that double bottom. Yeah, that double bottom and that bullish divergence was a nice move. I still think we're gonna come back and get us a opportunity down here to get in before we take it to the other side. Um, that was a nice move there, that double bottom though. That was the double bottom we was talking about. I forget her name. What's the one? It's Kamasha.
Yeah.
She had McDonald's option position that she established when I got in those. We made some money up here and then it fell. And I was saying that once it comes down, we may have an opportunity to get back in at a double bottom. I want to get a longer position, a deeper position in McDonald's, and I wanted to get out of some of that tech. So once we get a pullback, I think I'm gonna be looking to establish a position for a swing position for McDonald's. I like them to the upside after this move. Like we'll start rounding out from here. Again, we on that third touch. If we look at the weekly, we on the third touch of this trend line, all the way back to August 24th. So yeah, I like McDonald's, especially once we come back here to this trend line. That's gonna set us up with a nice head and shoulders pattern, or inverse head and shoulders. What else were we looking at recently? Nike took off for earnings.
I think we had said something about we just started speaking on the video with that price target change.
Nvidia is at all time highs. Um, I'll be cautious on Nvidia.
Yeah, I just looked at it. It looked just like Tesla on the chart.
I'll be cautious on Nvidia. Let's see. Yeah, that was a good move getting out of Google this morning. We down now on Google 30 cent. I still like Hunter's play out. I think he out till December. I would stick with those, and I would probably, if I'm too deep in the position, cause I don't know how heavy he is in that position. I would, instead of adding on to that one, I would grab other legs, like maybe some short swings that I can profit off of once it comes back. Especially if it comes back to just 200 MA again, that's gonna be a nice entry point to take that back to the upside. Um, First Solar was up $9 this morning. They was up more than that. They was up $13. Looked like 12, $13 this morning. That was a nice move, but First Solar is kind of volatile and risky right now with the way that they keep changing the policies on what they're gonna be doing with renewable energy, whether they're gonna be getting funding. So that's a kind of risky sector to be in, renewable energy right now, like clean energy. But the other energy sectors, GEV, Vistra, they gone. They're my babies, though. Boy, I love Vistra and GEV. We've been rocking with them for a minute now. And you can see on the chart from when we was down here in GEV when it was at like 250. It's twice that now 520. We was trading that back down here in April. Um, Actually, we was trading it before that. We was trading it way back last year in July when it was down here in the 170s. Damn, that's how long ago we been trading GEV. We
Yeah,
would
I remember. Yeah,
these
back
days.
then.
This one we were killing GEV back here.
Yeah. I wouldn't believe it
Hey,
then.
I was in there every day, and I got 100 on them, and then out of nowhere it took off. Um, August last year from 180,
Yeah.
and it's like 4 times what it was back then. Now that's crazy. That's crazy. We made a lot of money on GEV though. I know we made some bread. It could have been a hell of a lot more, but we made some good bread on GEV though. Um, let's look at the different sectors. Let's see where the money going. Look at the sector tracker on Spider sector. Let's see. Last 3 months, still technology. That's happened more so within the last like month or two. They did go on a nice dip, but this last month we've been on a crazy rally. Um, let's see who else. Consumer communication services been right behind them with Netflix, Disney, Meta leading the pack. You got both of the Googles in Take Two. Take Two been slowly grinding, but I know they chart look crazy right now.
What was that?
Take Two Take Two Interactive, one that makes Grand Theft Auto.
Uh,
I think Take Two is Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, they been up. They went up from. Hold on, this is daily. Let's go to our hourly. April we were at 195. We up by we up to 243. Yeah, I like Take Two. Um, let's see. We'll check out Meta. Let me see. Meta is outside of the bands on the 4 hour chart. Like a lot of, not a lot, but a few of the tech stocks that popped with that recent surge when we went to highs on Friday.
mhm.
That's put us in overbought conditions in majority of them tech stocks, but I think it's lining us up perfectly for that money to roll over to Apple, man. I really I'm gonna keep pressing on it until it go ahead and release and push to the upside, break through all this noise, and I believe we'll ride those Bollinger Bands on up because all the way up to the daily, we got room. Even when we start pushing to the upside, those bands gonna turn up with it, similar to how it did down here, and then we'll continue pushing to the upside. I think that's what we're gonna see out of Apple. Um, Meta, we just broke all time highs. We actually coming back, look like the retest all time highs. So that might not be a bad opportunity there to get into Meta. Depending on how you going into that position, if you going in as in shares, you can't go wrong with that. But if you going in there, if you're establishing an options position, I wouldn't establish it until we got back to 734. Um, 730 between 736 and 734 to establish that position right as it retests highs, and then if we gain momentum after that, we could continue higher. But if we get in a reject, then we'll know that as well. We'll start seeing it fall. Once we get below this low on Friday, I would say that's where I would set my stops at. If we close below that, then we probably gonna continue a little bit lower before continuing higher. That low on Friday was pretty much at open 725. So I like metal above 725. I would establish bullish positions um, around 734 with stops at 725.
Cool.
Um, any other stocks that y'all looking into? You can drop that in the chat. We can look into those while we're going over a few other things. What the Q's doing?
I think it just took off, dude.
No, not really. Not really. Not really. But if it does push back up to retest highs, I like puts on the Q's. And the highs are what was the high this morning on the 5 1st minute candle? 551.31. Yeah, so 551 um is a good spot for puts on the Q's if we get there. Yeah, if we get back to 551, I like puts on the Q's. That'll be a nice double top at the upper Bollinger Bands. And we already in overbought conditions, so yeah, that'll be a nice opportunity to play the puts or the Q or the play Qs, play puts on the Qs to the downside. What's Pepsi doing? Pepsi had got a nice rally. It's still in this range. Same thing. We made a little bit of money with Pepsi catching. We caught one or two of these swings. Those been nice. Like it's ready to cool back off a little bit. Don't be long.
He's gonna try to make a cup and handle soon.
As I say, won't be long before Pepsi go ahead and start rounding up. Once it gains some momentum, more momentum to the upside, and start closing above these previous highs, it's probably gonna round itself on up, like you said, Drake. And once it finds some resistance up here at the top of Bollinger Band, not the Bollinger Band, the upper side of the RSI around 70s, we'll probably be back up here and start cooling off, and that can give us that cup and handle formation.
Yeah,
Procter and Gamble made a nice double bottom on 4 hour chart. That would have been a nice entry here on Thursday. Still not too late though. If it comes back down to this 158 level, that'll be a nice inverse head and shoulders for Procter and Gamble. And we bounced here back in May, so this is a good area. I'm gonna set an alert on Procter and Gamble for that. I like that position.
check out CrowdStrike.
All right, give me a second.
Check out 721.
Let me see. Yeah, that's about right. We'll set that one at 158.20 every time it crosses. We get back there on Procter and Gamble, I'll be looking to swing. I like those.
I like puts here on CrowdStrike. They formed a channel, and at
Crowd.
the top of the channel, and almost to the top of the Bollinger Bands is maxed out on the TTM squeeze, and it's at 67.96 on the RSI.
Intraday, I like puts on crowd. Yeah, like now. I would I would be comfortable with a put a short intraday trade on crowd from here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the weekly too. That's what I was on. That's what I was just charting.
Yeah, I think that'll come on back down. And the puts out to July 3rd, which is Friday. Those are $600 at the money. Um, yeah, that's not a bad move. And I would look at watching that 508.50 area. If it breaks that with some momentum, then we probably be continuing higher. But yeah, it looks like it's ready to come on back down. So it's pushing up to that 508 now. It's making that double top, retesting the highs from this morning. You go about 2 weeks.
Tesla finally under 320. It had problems breaking that 320 this morning.
Yeah, the crowd just touched the upper Bollinger Band on the 5 minute chart. Tesla, you say?
Yeah, it got back over the 320 now. It was under it, but it just bounced from it.
320 and Tesla on the hourly is it was outside of the bands. It's chilling out there. We might have a hard time falling much from where it's at now. It's probably gonna work its way down from there. But once we get to this 315, that's gonna be the next area for it to break through. If it breaks through that, we falling down to 308 to fill that gap. I think we can round up from that area, that 308. To be honest, if we fall that far, I would be looking into swings. If we start getting out to the lower 300s on Tesla, I would like to average into a swing position, maybe a few months out. Looking at probably September, October.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad move at the money.
That's why I had it at 307.
Oracle popped again this morning, bruh. Yeah, Oracle was up. I heard him say it this morning too. Yeah, Oracle was up about 10% again this morning. Oracle been going insane.
We got somebody in the range.
Yeah, I like this Procter and Gamble though. Ain't gonna hold you. That looked like a nice opportunity at that 158 level. Okay, so let's zero in on the sectors. So within the month, tech again has
Hunter made
been leading.
5x, man.
Huh?
Hunter made 5K on Google.
On Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I made like 13 and some change on that, and I ain't even had that big of a position. I only had like a grand in it.
That's what's up.
I mean, I say that not that big of a position, but for my portfolio, that was only like 2% or something like that, and flip that for like 150%, 140%, something like that. Yeah, 100 killing it, dog. That's what they here for, man. I'm so glad to see that because I see where he's come from to now. Like that's what we do it for. Friday technology. Yep, technology and communication services been on it. Trying to see where it's rolling to though. I think we gonna end up rolling in the industrials. Um, it's starting to pick up because industrials we were up 10% on the 3 month, up 10% on the 6 month. Then we dropped down to 2% within the last month, and then 3% in the last 5 days. Kind of hard to see right now with everything cooking with the market right now. It's kind of hard to see. Man, that Google down $1 now. They were up $3. Look how they came off of that band. That was a nice exit right there for catching that at the top of that band on the 4 hour. That was a nice exit. Did Hunter exit his position?
I think so.
That's love, man. Damn, that's good, bro. That was nice. That was a nice move. And he didn't even do that move off of my trade. That was his move. Like I got in to Google, but I honestly didn't. I had forgot Hunter was in Google because I probably would have went out to the ones he did in December. But I did September's. I think he had December. I did September calls. So he that all on his own, bro.
That's
Okay, Home Depot is at the top of the bands. That would have been a nice move. I seen that last week, and I should have got in that. It was a little too late when I looked at it. Um, Cause on Monday it did come back down a little bit, but it didn't give me a chance to get in. If it would have got down here again, I would have probably got in. But that was a nice move.
on the
On
weekly, top Bollinger Band is at 389
for
Home Depot.
yeah, and it made a
See,
nice. This is what I was looking at on Home Depot. That where I was said I would have got in last week. It made a big double bottom on the weekly, and then it pushed.
he's got it going up.
Yeah, it broke that 20 MA on the weekly, and to be honest, I don't see us coming back past 364. Right where that 320, that 20 MA is at, and we'll probably go ahead and continue higher to the 200 MA and this upper Bollinger Band. That was a nice entry right here though on this double bottom. Um, and it's gonna be nice once we get these charting videos up for the group because right now while we talking about this double bottom, we can drop the video link and you can see exactly what it is. You know, we were referring to and how you can uh, establish establish positions. Let me set this up. Establish positions, profitable positions based on this analysis. But this is what I see. Maybe it'll do something like break that 200, retest it, and then continue higher. Something like that on Home Depot. It's kind of in this range going top to bottom, and it's about time for it to round back up now. Just depends on what happens when it gets about right here, whether it rides the inside of that band or it rejects and come back to test the previous support level. But I like Home Depot. I liked it better last week, but still got some upside to it. Hood is up there. I told y'all about Hood, man. I told y'all about Hood when we was way down here in the 30s. In April, we started averaging into Robinhood position in shares. If you had bought Robinhood in shares back in April, and at $30, your position to be up 3x. If you had put $1,000 in April, it'll be $3,000. You put $3,000 in, it'll be 9. But you don't want to dump your whole. You don't want to establish your full position all in one trade. So you'll start averaging in back here. You still will be up at least 100%. That was a nice run. It didn't go exactly how we had drawn it out, but you get the picture. It still did what it did. That was a nice move. Should have been a little more aggressive on it, but that was a nice move. That was another one. I didn't really miss that one though. I made money on shares on Robinhood. I'm still making money on shares on Robinhood, so can't complain. A options position would have been nice, but that was a nice move. IBM is up there. I think IBM ready to cool off.
I said something about IBM and being part of that quantum computing. They're starting to talk about that a little bit more now.
They definitely in that space. Um, I still think quantum is a little ways off. It's just it's gonna continue to get gain momentum as we get closer, but I still think it's a little ways off. Mickey D's. Okay, I just need you to come back down for me and give me another shoulder. Now we get back down in them 280s on McDonald's. We gotta get in there. That was a nice move from 283 up to 293. $10 move from Thursday to today. Okay, Nike, Netflix. Remember Netflix broke a grand on the earnings that I hit seven. I think I made 7K on this last earnings for Netflix. Yep, when we broke a grand. Now we at 1330, up 30%,
Crazy.
up 30% from April. Yeah, that's wild. Um, Palantir. I mean shares of Palantir. I've been averaging into those. Um, yeah, we had all time highs on Palantir. Like we broke and coming back to retest. One that might have been our retest from Friday, um, or we could come a little bit lower. But once we get back down here to these 120s, mid 120s, I see us rounding back up on Palantir. That's not. Yeah, we get back down here to these 120s, we'll be at that bottom band and we'll be retesting these previous highs. That'll be a nice entry point to get into Palantir and catch it to the upside. Mid 120s. Plug still ain't hitting on nothing. That's dead. I'm about to delete plug off of this list. I don't really trade plug like that no more because they don't got no real footing in the game with EVs. They just another player in that space with hella competition. PayPal is lining up nice. This was a good opportunity here on Friday to get into PayPal on the daily too. That wasn't last Friday. That was the Friday before last. Yeah, PayPal is nice. Got a nice setup. That was a good opportunity on the 20th to catch PayPal, and you would have caught a nice move and still could have been in it. Um, I think that about cover the main stocks that we've been looking at. SMCI is making this cup and handle formation. That's a perfect cup and handle formation.
Yeah, you seen what I had posted about SMCI?
No, he posted that in the Telegram.
in Telegram and on my channel on what's the name? I think it was 300 million. The company buying I think it's capped calls on the stock. It's at 300. I think their profits and bought capped calls on the stock.
I'm gonna go ahead and finish drawing this out. This is a nice cup and handle formation on SMCI. If you can see the screen, this is lining up nice. I seen better, but you get the picture. It's still lining up nice, and it's right back at that trend line. So what we'll probably see now is this is typically how these go. Let me delete some of these lines out of here. This is typically what we see, and I can go back to an old chart on Google where we seen a cup and handle. I want to say that was maybe early last year, or it might even been the year before that. To be honest, we'll see something like this here. It'll bounce, it'll bounce, it'll bounce.
Yeah, that TTM squeeze on that monthly is strong. They got it going back up to around 95.
Yeah, we'll break through here, and then we'll retest, and then we'll continue higher to retest these highs, revisit those highs. Um, this length here is usually identical to this length from the bottom. Let's see, let's get another one of those up. This length here of $18.80 roughly is about the same length we can expect on the once we break out. So about $18. Expecting to move about there up to 68 ish. What'd you have, Drake?
No, I was just looking at the same stock, SMCI.
Okay, but yeah, I'm expecting to move to about $68 on SMCI once we break out of this cup and handle and retest. We get a retest, that'll be confirmation, and that'll give us a good confirmation, a good enough confirmation to expect us to get up to these previous highs of 66 before we start seeing some major resistance. That's gonna be a nice run. That might be paired with a bull run on crypto. Um, that's their space. They buying the hell out of Bitcoin. Look at the S&P is still pushing up, making higher highs, making new all-time highs. We in no man's land right now, so we kind of just gonna see how everything plays out. I think we're gonna continue to push higher. This is this what we just had over the past few months. After February, we got that dip to April, and then we recovered, made a full recovery. We literally just talked our way through this. If you've been in a group for the last 4 to 5 months, um, yeah, 5 months back to February when we started to see this fall, everything started falling. We started going into the trade war, tariffs, Trump coming in, all that stuff, Elon disrupting everything. Um, we broke the 200, retested it, and then we fell all the way back down here to the 490s. We found support, and we made a nice recovery back to all-time highs from April to now. The last time we had movement like that was back here in let's see. was 2020 for COVID. We had that drop down to March, from February to March, going into April. By the time we got into April, we be at that same thing. We recovered. We didn't even make it to highs here. We came back, and then once we broke highs, we pushed up a little bit past. Like we broke highs at like 338, and then we pushed up to 360. So like another 10%, and then we came back to retest a few times, and then we continued higher from there. But the last time we made this move like this to the downside in 2020, when we did recover, we ended up going from 330 up to about 478 before we turned around and cooled off again. So we typically can expect history to not always repeat itself, but it does rhyme, and I think we'll go on a nice uptrend from here. There's really no reason for us to make another move like this. We should be pretty solid. Everything's balancing out in the economy. We're gonna start getting more rate cuts. We're gonna get a lot of more money coming back into the economy from outside investments with the way that Trump is structuring everything. So I think we're looking good. We'll see how that plays out though. Let's look at crypto, and then we'll go ahead and close out. Bitcoin, big dog. Bitcoin giving me like flag vibes, man. It looked like it's doing a bull flag. It's giving us a bull flag on the daily. So I think we're gonna end up breaking out soon. To the other side, but Bitcoin is always like it got to be a story, major story behind it. So we're gonna see how that play out. But I think we getting something like this here on Bitcoin. Breakout, maybe retest from that breakout and continue higher. Something like that. I think we could see something like that on Bitcoin, especially if we get another pullback down to this 97 and it holds, or if it mess around and come and retest this 200. That's gonna be a perfect setup for us to really start eyeing crypto for the next rally. It's already closing in on that anyway with everything that's going on at the federal level, building out the foundation for cryptocurrencies and digital assets. But if we get another pullback to 97, 96, 97, that's probably gonna be your last opportunity to get in here before we go to some good highs, because that'll be like a nice bull flag on the daily chart. We're starting to look nice on Doge. It's making this nice double bottom. Probably on the weekly, it's got a nice double bottom. Yeah, we got a hell of a double bottom on the weekly for Doge. So technicals looking really good there. I would start averaging in the Doge. I already have. I'm consistently averaging in the crypto now, and that's Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Those are the four that I average into. But on the technical side, they're all looking pretty good. Ethereum
took off this morning, about 5 o'clock this morning.
Let's see what they got on the daily. It don't look like it did not too crazy. It went from 24.37 up to 25. But it's still ready to once it gets above this 200 and it holds, that's gonna be confirmation, bullish confirmation to the upside. It look like we trying to fight to get above this 200 MA. It's been riding that since early May, and rejecting that 200. So once we get above that 200 MA on Ethereum, which I think that's coming pretty soon. I was looking at some earlier on CNBC where this company is buying up Ethereum the way that MicroStrategy is buying Bitcoin, in the same fashion, I was actually gonna post that in the group this morning when I seen that. It should be right here on the front page. It was a dude they was talking right here. This dude right here they were talking to this morning. Wall Street strategist Tom Lee is aiming to create the micro strategy of Ethereum. So I watched this interview this morning with him. I didn't go in depth on like exactly what he was talking about, but I got an understanding for what they were talking about as far as it being like the micro strategy for Ethereum. That's gonna be something to look deeper into. We'll probably have Kamasha and Sam look into that story a little bit deeper. That's probably gonna be something that gives us some that shakes up the crypto industry, and give us some good opportunities. So we'll look deeper into that.
Yeah, I remember on Sundays we gonna have the crypto corner. You know what I mean? So if you highly interested in crypto, every Sunday around 7 o'clock at night, Central Time, we'll have a special edition session for crypto.
XRP is looking nice. Like nothing in crypto right now is overbought, except for Bitcoin is at all time highs. Well, Bitcoin, no, it ain't. Actually, it was back in May, but well, we still ranging on Bitcoin too. So yeah, we setting up nice to get a push in crypto. Coin just took off and left crypto altogether after this move here, but that was expected after establishing the stable coins and stuff. They coming back to retest these previous highs, and I honestly think we just gonna continue higher from here. I don't think we coming back down to these levels on coin. Them days probably over with. We probably just gonna retest these highs and continue grinding higher. This was a nice cup and handle right here on coin. And what's crazy is I had this drawing out, this flag, but I didn't have the cup drawing out for the cup and handle side. Like it had multiple patterns within this one chart, and that's multiple confirmations to tell you to play this to the upside.
I got a call coming in. Give me 1 second, bro.
We finna close out now anyway. I just wanted to go over crypto real quick. XRP look good. We on over coin, Doge, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So yeah, we'll be monitoring the Apple position. We made money on the Google position. I gotta make a post about Hunter, man. He killing the game right now. He killing the game, and that's I know I didn't make the official post. I was working on a graphic and got sidetracked, but I did have a graphic I was gonna post for the Hunter being the first certified shooter in the group to go from being a subscriber to the group sponsoring his subscription and him becoming a certified shooter that's putting the other subscribers onto positions within the group. So that's the goal, man. That's the goal. So we'll go ahead and close out. We'll be watching Apple, and we'll be looking at some other positions that we just spoke on, like Procter and Gamble and McDonald's, and I think that was the main ones that I was looking at. I'm gonna create a separate list for those, the targets to watch. But yeah, McDonald's and Procter and Gamble, we're looking into those, and we'll keep y'all updated in the group chat.
Alright, brother. I'll hit you in a few.
Cool. Other than that, stay safe and monitor your risk. Let's get active, shooters.